Good morning, traders. Welcome to Trading Together. I'm Mel Gacee. Today is Thursday, March the 5th. Welcome, everybody. If you are here and you've never been here before, I want to give you a special welcome and say thank you for joining. And if you have followed me for a while, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. This is a space where I am really dedicated to helping new traders, to helping traders of all levels. I've been trading for 20 years. I am a licensed stockbroker with my Series 7, and this is what I do for a living. So we're going to take live trades together. Possibly, we'll talk about the setup today. We're going to take some live trades together. We are going to analyze the market, and I'm going to answer any of your questions and comments. This is a rare spot. You don't see channels like this on YouTube where I'm going to interact with you and I'm going to answer your questions. There are no questions that are dumb. There are no questions that are too newbie. That's why this space is here, and that is to help traders at all levels. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for jumping in there. Let's talk about what we've got. Let's jump right in. We are looking at roughly a sideways market right now. I am actually looking at potentially taking a put here. Give me just a second. If I were to take a put, I would be looking at the 682s. The thing that would stop me would be this yellow line. If you see it right here, this is our overnight low. So I want to be careful of that to see, could we get a bounce here? And at the moment we are. So I'm going to wait on this put just for a second. If we break this overnight low right in here, I might consider jumping in on that put. Okay. Let me zoom in a bit here. Now let's talk about what we're seeing so far today. What is noteworthy? Here's our daily. This is our minute chart for today on. Okay, we are breaking that low. God bless it. Okay. All right. I am in this put, punch it. And I'm being very cautious today, and I'll talk about this in just a minute, but basically I think that we could be in a sideways market right now. So I'm going to be careful. With this trade and not stay in too long. I'm not going to overstay my welcome. I'm out, punch it. That's roughly 4%. I do think we could come back down here and test this high of day where we just were, but I'm not going to insist on it. I'm not going to overstay my welcome, and I'll explain why right now as we get into the analysis piece. I think we're going to be seeing a bit of a sideways market today. Hopefully, I don't know if anybody followed on that trade. Like I said, it was like 3%, maybe 4%. And that's okay. I've taken very small trades today. I'm being very cautious today, and I'll show you why. Let's take a look at the charts. So here's our open. This is the SPX. This is basically the index, the S&P 500 index. At the open, hey, Val, 2%. Congrats. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. So basically at the open, we had this little dip and then a pop and a dip and a pop and then a bigger dip and then another pop. Basically what we are seeing here, in my opinion, is a bit of range bound market. At least it is for now. It doesn't mean we won't drop some more. And look at, here we go, back down to test this low of day. But I'm going to give you my big picture analysis. Let me switch over to the futures. I want to show you what I was seeing last night and why I'm being pretty cautious today in my trades. Very cautious today. I want to show you, I'm going to zoom way out, right here. Okay. My dog is chasing her own tail. Pay no attention to the dog behind the curtain. She's silly. Okay. So at about 4 a.m. Eastern, we had a crazy run up. This was a 39 to 94, basically a 60-point run on the futures overnight, right? So you can see from the close of yesterday, Gavilan, good morning. You got 3. Congrats. Hey, I'm taking my happy meals today and I'm happy for them. Guy is here. Good morning, Guy. Thanks for joining. All right. So basically we had a kind of a push down from yesterday's market in the overnight, right? And then we were kind of at these lows down here at 68.40 on the ES, which is a good, 80, 90 points below where we are right now. Good. Is that right? 68.40. Let me do my math right. It's basically a few points above where we are right now. But it was lower certainly than where we had closed. So at about 4 a.m. Eastern, we had a couple of different newsworthy events come out. The biggest, most important thing that happened is that Qatar has shut down their liquid natural gas facilities, shut them down. They aren't going to ship that. They aren't going to ship any natural gas for a while, liquid natural gas. And because of the situation in the Strait of Hormuz, where they can't get anything really out, even though President Trump has promised escort and aid from the United States to kind of ease this global tension that we're feeling. We can't get oil out, and now we can't get natural gas out, right? Guys, that is a big, big, big deal. Big, 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 big deal. It's not going to stay that way. Eventually, we're going to recover, but the oil is moving up. Natural gas is moving up. Qatar provides 20% of the global natural gas supply. Excuse me. Sorry. So Qatar came out in this time frame, this 3:30, 4 a.m. time frame, and said, "Thank you, Guy." Said, "Yeah, no, we're shutting down liquid natural gas." And the reason that they're doing it is really no more than just they can't have it backing up in their facilities because they are not able to ship it out right now. They're not going to do it. The insurers are not insuring vessels through the strait. Iran has threatened to, blow up ships or do whatever they can do to make life miserable. So the idea is that Qatar said, okay, we're just backing up with this. You can't just sit there and store all of this liquid natural gas. So they shut down their facility. Best case scenario, if they were open it up tomorrow, it's going to take them 2 to 3 weeks just to come back online. If everything were all magically fixed tomorrow, which it's not going to be. So we are looking at roughly, at the minimum, a month of disruption to the liquid natural gas supply. And of course, we're already looking at disruption to the oil supply. We're in a lot of economical trouble globally because gas, energy, oil, runs the world, right? It runs everything. Okay, we are breaking our low of day from yesterday. We could consider puts here. We held it just a few minutes ago, so I want to see if we're actually going to break down through it. I am going to load up the 680 puts right here, but I want to be really careful about not selling the bottom. If we continue to sell off today, we could keep moving down, but if they try to hold this range, I really don't want to get stuck selling the bottom here. And this move already started at the VWAP. So even though I have puts loaded, chances are I'm not going to take them. I want to see what happens here. If we get a whoosh, I might jump in real quick, but this is an extended move. I do not want to sell the bottom. That is my fear today. I don't want to buy the top. I don't want to sell the bottom. That's kind of where I'm at today. Okay, so why would we see this run up? As Qatar makes this announcement that they are shutting down production of liquid natural gas, why would we see this 60-point run up? Anybody? Liquidity. A liquidity, in my opinion, right? This is just my analysis. In my opinion, this is a liquidity sweep, a liquidity grab. Meaning, big money wants to sell. But do you think they want to sell here? Or do you think they want to sell here? Well, certainly they want to sell here, don't they? So there was another headline that came out, funny enough, roughly right in the same time frame. Do you know what that headline was? Iran wants to make a secret deal with the United States. They want to stop the fighting and they want to have a secret deal. Well, that's hogwash. Didn't happen. Fake headlines, in my opinion. Take everything you hear with my tinfoil hat. Fake headline to push the prices up here. Guess who bought on the way up here? In my opinion, it was retail. It was retail who bought on the way up here. Even though retail isn't super big in trading futures, there's a good bit of people out there trading futures retail. In my opinion, retail bought this and provided some liquidity for big money. And then big money, there are some dark pool prints sitting right here, big ones, about 6 billion of them. So looks to me, in my humble opinion, like we got this bad news. We created a fake headline. We pushed this market all the way up as high as they could get it, almost 6,900 on the ES, pretty big push. And what have they done ever since? They've sold it. Can you see? They're very slowly selling it off. Now, what does that mean for us today? What that means is we could be experiencing some range bound behavior, or we could continue the sell today. This is a sell. We are down 55 points, down 0.8%. But guess what? That's nothing compared to where I think we're going. I think we will hit probably 6,700 or 6,750 by tomorrow. I think that's just my guess. Don't trade on that. This is just my tinfoil hat analysis. Okay. I think we could hit 6,700 by tomorrow. I think what they will try to do, one theory that I have, what they will try to do is try to hold right in this range of 6,850 on the SPX within a plus or minus 10-point range. So somewhere between 6,840 to 6,860, I think could be where they try to hold today. And wait for big data headlines tomorrow. We've got big data coming out tomorrow. We've got unemployment. Is it unemployment? Let me double check. We've got the jobs report. We've got retail. I don't know if we've got unemployment tomorrow. Let me double check. Yeah. Unemployment. So we've got retail sales, average hourly earnings, non-farm payrolls, that's the government number, and the unemployment rate. That is huge data. So, in my opinion, big money may try to capture today's theta. So, burn the zero DTEs, meaning everybody who's holding options that expire today, the idea is, the theory is, they might try to burn those, keeping the price within a range. And I think that range, again, could be right around 68.40 to 68.60 on the SPX. Now, could we sell? Yeah, and we are selling. We're already seeing the sell in action. These little drops down followed by a push up and then another drop down. That is selling, right? So far, we are selling. Right now, we're trying to hold this low of day, which is just roughly a little bit over 6,800 on the SPX. They're going to want to hold that. If we continue to sell today, we can continue to trade. But like I said, I'm going to be very cautious about selling a bottom today. So looking at this, how do we trade it? Right now, I am waiting. I'm going to see what happens right here with this low of day from yesterday. Are we going to lose that and continue another wave of selling? If we do, I'm okay looking at puts, and I'm still holding 680 puts right now is what I'm holding. Now, this move is a bit extended. We've been dropping since about 20 minutes now. For about 20 minutes, we've been dropping from this test of the VWAP. We turned around and dropped. So what I want to see is, are we going to continue another leg of selling, or are we going to try and hold this range? We should try and hold the range. But we don't have to. They can, like I said, they can get a few things sold today before they give us the big dump tomorrow. All right. Slowly losing this low of day. But again, I do not want to sell the bottom. I'm cautious today. Our MACD is starting to lighten up a little bit here. And like I said, we're a bit extended, so I'm not going to take a put at this moment in time. Could we take calls with an eye to another VWAP test? We could, but we are in a negative movement. So that would be a counter trend trade if we took calls right now. So this low of day is what's trying to hold right now. Roughly 680, 679.5 on the SPY. $6,800 is resistance. 6,800 would be support, Gavilan. It is a level of support. It doesn't have to hold, but 6,800 is a level of support. And that's only 9 points below us. So we hit 6804. Pretty darn close, right? Pretty darn close. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. If I said resistance, I apologize. Sometimes I talk and my brain isn't fully engaged. All right. Looks like they might try to hold it here. $68.09 on the SPX. What I'd like to see is a little reversal to the upside and then another leg down, but I don't know that we're going to get that. We'll keep watching. So we're getting a little rise on the VIX, 23.5. That's a decent amount, guys. We did spike it up to 28 the other day, but 23.5 is not a joke. That's an elevated VIX, so we got to be careful. That VIX is telling us all is not well under the hood. Things are getting jittery on the landscape. Selling is imminent, in my opinion. In my opinion. Again, don't trade that. Trade what the charts tell you. I only give you what I see in the macro picture, but that's only my best guess, right? Don't trade a bias. Always trade what the charts are giving you. That's really important. VIX up almost 12% today, so that's significant as well. All right, they are still trying to hold this level, giving it the old college try here. So if we get the MACD rolling up here and a firm break of this low of day, I might pivot over to calls. The 679s are what I would be looking at. 679 calls, but there's a little push there. I'm not going to get in it just yet. I'm not sure I can trust it. I'm not sure if we're going to get a push and then another leg down. So I'm watching. We do have a MACD rollover. We do have the VIX giving us a downward movement. I'm not going to trust it just yet. Got some elevated volume, so that's encouraging. I'd like to see another run for the VWAP, but I'm not sure it's going to give us that. Now, if this thing turns and falls back down, I might consider a put. We're in a little bit of a tough territory right here with this low of day. And I'll be honest with you, today is a day where I'm okay not making a ton. I've done okay so far today, but I'm okay not making a bunch of money. I'm very, very cautious today. All right, came right back down, didn't it? So that was not a strong push up just yet. We don't see that just yet. We've got Broadcom up 5% today after good earnings yesterday. None of the rest of the Mag 7s are doing anything. So the Mags as an ETF are down about 0.5%. I'm sure Broadcom is helping to raise that a little bit. We've got Tesla's at its flat line. Apple down 0.7. Meta down 1.5. Google down 1.5. And where's NVIDIA? Oh, NVIDIA's green by a little bit at its flat line. All right, Guy, the plunge protection team working on syncing their algos. I agree with you, Guy. I don't think they're going to let it plunge today. I think they will let it plunge tomorrow. That's my thesis. It's just a guess. I think they'll let it plunge tomorrow. I will probably buy overnight puts, but be careful if you do that, because those overnight puts are what I would call a lotto trade. If we get some crazy great news overnight and the market screams up, you can lose your whole position. So if you take anything overnight, please be aware that it's basically, you're either going to hit it or you might lose it all. So, and the other thing to be aware of is it's a higher risk trade, especially with all the data coming out. But I'm going to watch the close today. And if it looks to me like we're holding a level, this level that I'm talking about, this 68.40, 68.50 level, or somewhere thereabouts. If we're holding that level, I think that I will probably take some overnight puts, but I'll be careful. And if you do, also be careful and be prepared to lose the whole thing if it doesn't go our way. However, I do think, Guy, with your plunge protection team, I agree with you that that very well could be what's happening today. The other thing that I think could be happening today is just burn the calls, right? Burn the calls from yesterday after that crazy push up, and maybe even burn the puts here. If we hold this bottom, if anyone comes out here and sells this bottom, maybe burn the puts too. So I think that's kind of going to be the name of the game today. And then I think tomorrow they're going to let her rip. But I don't have to be right. Just know that that's my theory. Okay. All right. Recovery so far of the low of day, but no strong push upward just yet. So what I will be looking for is another leg lower potentially. If we get that leg lower, I will jump into puts. If we get a nice strong run toward the VWAP, I might take a quick call. Right now, we need to beat this little bitty top right here at 6. Do you see the top right here at 680.2 on the SPY? So I need to see it get over that. And would we take calls? Maybe. I do still have the 680s loaded. But if we turn and get another leg down, I will pivot over to puts. All right. Guy's saying 3% from the all-time highs. Yeah, Guy, that you're exactly right. We are just a little bit off of all-time highs. And that is this is all, in my opinion, this is all smoke and mirrors. The real selling has accelerated under the hood, in my opinion. And once they're done selling, they are going to let it crash. Now, how far down will we go? I think over the next day or two, by tomorrow, like I said, 6,700, 6,750 maybe. But there's way more coming. I think we will be heading down to 6,500, 6,300, somewhere in there over the next few days and weeks. Okay, looks like we're getting a little turnaround. I am going to, I'm going to wait a minute, but I might be getting ready to pivot over to puts here. What I don't want to do is get caught in this low of day line. So I want to see them actually really break the low of day here, which they haven't done yet. They're really so far holding it. They held it over here, here, and they're currently holding it now. If I were to pick puts, I would be looking at the 680s. And again, I'm not going to get in until I see a very significant break of this low of day. They may not break this. They might not. So I'm sitting on my hands right now. It's like managed healthcare. Managed healthcare. What a joke. What a joke. Okay. Let's take a look at our daily chart just to see where we're at. We've definitely lost the 100-day moving average. My guess is they'll try to recover that by end of day. That's my guess. Again, I could be wrong. It's just a guess. So let's look at the daily chart to get a feel for what's going on at the moment. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Guy. I do see the screens. I see them on my end. All right, let me stop and restart. Sorry about that. I don't know why that happens. Let me stop and restart here. There you go. All right, little push up again. Hopefully you can see those now. And yeah, thanks, Guy. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, I'm going to jump over here to the daily chart on the SPX. I like to look at the daily on the SPX because the gaps are more visible. Okay, let's take a look at today. So what did they do to us yesterday? Well, it was a bunch of hogwash, wasn't it? It was a bunch of hogwash. They gave us this super low on Tuesday, right? All the way down here to 670 on the SPY. And then they bounced it hard, recovered the 100, pushed it hard yesterday, and then boom, dropped it again today. So this is just shenanigans, right? Okay. I do kind of like the calls here. Hold on. 680s. Not in them yet. Let's see what we get here. See if we get another test of the VWAP. We may or may not. I'm not in it. I'm just looking. We'll push up through the 50 here. 68.19 on the SPX. All right. I'm going to give it a shot, but again, I'm really looking at tiny trades today. Nothing major. Might be coming back down. Nope. I'm going to get out at 15% loss. Well, 14. I'm out. Punch it. It might climb again, but this was a counter trend trade, so I'm not going to try to wager a lot on that. Okay. Let's get back to our daily here. So again, they recovered the 100, came back down through it today. Here's 6,800 Gavilan that we were talking about as the support right here, this line. The idea is that I think they're gonna want to try to recapture this 100 today. It's not that far overhead. It's just about 20 points overhead. So I think the idea is they're going to try to recapture that 100 today and then let it go tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll have to watch the charts. All right. So what we see overall since this high right here at the end of January is we are seeing lower highs, lower lows. You see them here? Lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low. So we are seeing this distribution in action. That's what we're seeing here. This push up to these highs and then this very slow distribution. It's occurring underneath the hood. You can't see it. But once they're done selling, you will see it drop. And like I said, I think we could get as low as 6,300. But the next stop, in my opinion, will be right in here at about 67.70, somewhere between 67.20 to 67.70, I think is the next stop, and wave of selling tomorrow. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Getting a little push back up. I also want to take a look at the VIX on the daily. Okay, so this is the 1 minute chart of the VIX. So you can see we're sort of getting, right at the moment, a little bit of a higher high and then a drop down here. Okay. All right, there's that little push there. There we go. $68.20 on the SPX. The 10 minute is having trouble getting over the channel bottom and the 9 EMA. It's struggling, Guy, and that's why I was saying it was, that call was a counter trend trade. So that's why I jumped out real fast. I'm not trying to hold on to that because you're right. We're struggling to get any kind of upward traction. Okay, so let's take a look at the daily on the VIX. So here's that punch up to 28 that we had on, was that Tuesday that we did that drop? Yes, it was Tuesday that we did that drop. So here's that punch, lost 16, but jumped back in for a small gain. Great job. Great job, Guy. I did not jump back in. I thought about it and I am thinking about it, but the problem is it's just a little bit too extended and it's just a counter trend. So I'm not going to jump back in again, but good for you. Glad you got back a little bit. Okay. On the daily, let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to put the SPX down here so you can see how these moves on the VIX correspond. Let's move to the daily here. Okay. So remember that the VIX gives us the inverse of the indices in general, most usually. Okay. So you see the high here on January 28th, which is corresponding to a fairly low VIX reading on the 28th. So the VIX reading on the 28th was like 17. However, what we were noticing, and I kept sharing with you all, is what? This rising bottom. This bottom has been rising since December, but guess what? The market stopped rising in January. So when the VIX is rising, we would expect to see the market coming down, but it didn't. In December, it kept rising. kept rising. We did do some drops in here, but we got all the way up to our high January 28th. So the bottom kept rising. This was our warning that something was about to break. Something wasn't right. This rising bottom kept telling us something's not right in the market. So even though it looks like we're moving up here in December and January, we're getting this rising VIX. The market is getting jittery underneath the surface. So then we get this pop on Tuesday that corresponds with this. Look at this big low we got on Tuesday right there. Hopefully, let me make sure you guys can see that. My face isn't in the way. Yeah, let me move this over a little bit so you can see it better. All right, moving back down again. I might consider puts in here at 680, 681. Not in it yet, just looking. All right, I'm going to jump in real quick on the puts here. Punch it. I am in. A little bit green right now. Okay, I'm going to jump out right here, punch it. That's about 5%. So we made up a little bit on that 14% loss there. That was a quick in and out there. Okay, back to the VIX. So the punch up here, thanks, Guy. I don't know if anyone was able to follow. It was pretty quick. The punch here on the Tuesday candle corresponds to this dip on the SPX, right? So we get this big dip on this Tuesday candle. And then they pushed that volume way back down. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. They pushed that volume way back down, made it look like, oh, we're rising now. And we did get a nice green candle yesterday and a nice big red candle on the VIX yesterday. Little games right here, yeah? Today, we're getting another rising VIX. So here's the question. How high can we go? Let's take a look. Let's zoom out. How high can we go on the VIX? Well, this pop to 28 was a nice resistance, wasn't it? We see it here at 1120. On 1120, what happened? Big dip. Right there. Look at that big red candle on 1120. That corresponds with this pop right there on 1120. Then there's another pop on 1017 right in here. So we're getting a dip, not quite as low as we did in November, but certainly a dip, right? And then, of course, this mega monster, this was back in April, that mega monster spike there. Let me change this up so we can see more data. All right, so we got that monster spike in April. And I do not have enough data here. So how high can we go? Well, 60 is what we hit in April. I think that was what they were calling the tariff tantrums, maybe. And then we hit 65 in August. And I think that was the Japanese yen carry trade unwind. I'm not positive. I'll have to go back and look at it. But basically, these big black swan events, right? Can we go higher than we have over here at this 28 level? Sure. Yeah, we can. we look sideways, we can see lots of times when we've gone up here, 31, 34, 35. So the next thing I would do after kind of establishing, yes, we've got plenty of room to move up. The next thing I would do is go and look at, now there's our call push. There it's pushing. The next thing I would do is go and look at the VIX option positioning. And I do that by looking at the options chart. And VIX is going to expire for its weekly on March 11th. So for that expiration, what are we seeing? We're seeing some positioning here at 20. Let me broaden this out and see. Do we have anything sitting at 30 or 35? Yeah, we've got some open interest sitting here at 35. Some. And some open interest sitting here at 40. We also have open interest on the other side as well. So the options flow isn't telling me a ton for this expiration. We're fairly balanced. Fairly balanced. No, I think we're heavier on the open interest on the call side. So anyway, that's kind of how I would analyze the VIX and say, yes, I think we've got some more room to go. I'm looking at 30 to 35 potentially. Let's see what we get tomorrow on the data. We could see a big pop on the VIX tomorrow. Okay, let's get back to our charts and see if there are any trades for us here. $68.23. This is kind of an important level here. I do want to show you, I think I did show you, but I want to show you one more time the 100-day moving average. Let's look at that real quick. On the SPX, that is sitting at right in here, 68.36, 14 points overhead. That is no big deal. I think they will try to capture that today. That also puts us in that zone of right around the 68.50 where I think we could close today. So that's kind of my expectation, is that they'll try to hold this 100 today. So I'm thinking we get a close somewhere above 68.30. That's my guess. Now, if we get continued selling, that's a different story, but it doesn't, so far, it doesn't look like that to me. We are holding right now at the moment, 6,800. So far, we're holding that. So that's kind of my expectation today, which is why I'm being very cautious, because I think we could be inside of a range for most of the day today. Okay. 1 minute. There we go. Let's get over to our VIX again and see what's going on. All right. So, do we want to trade a call at this point? I do not want to trade a call at this point. I think they're establishing this lower range here is what it looks like to me. See how we're kind of just snaking through here. The bottom just above 6,800, the top at 68.50. That makes perfect sense to me. Let's see if they pull it sideways for a good bit of time. Now that's a 50-point range. We can trade that range if that is what they're doing. We need to see confirmation that truly this is what they're doing. But if it is, we could trade that range. We just have to be careful. So days where we're range bound are the days where I am the most cautious. And I think we should try to hold 6,800. If we lose 6,800, we could consider the fact that we may be looking at a bigger sell. We are in a sell right now. We're down 49 points from yesterday's close. That's a sell. We're in sell mode, but I think they'll hold the level. 68.19 is where we're sitting. This call was kind of treacherous, wasn't it? The one that we tried to take. Didn't really go too far. So that's the thing with counter trend trades. I'm going to get out pretty fast if I'm wrong on it, because I don't want to sit there and give up all my profits today for a counter trend trade. It's not worth it. All right. Starting to kind of slow down here. Volume dropping off a bit. Let me get over to SPY. You can sort of see the volume dropping off a little bit here. $68.50 is 30 points overhead. That's only 15 points overhead. Okay. Point of control. All right, VIX getting a little move up here. I'm going to load some puts here, but I'm not ready to jump into anything. I'm looking at 681 puts. Not ready to take anything yet. $68.19, and our floor right now is sitting at, what did I say, 68.04? I mean, the support is 6,800, but I think our low support 68.05. So remember, data tomorrow is going to be really important on a lot of levels, but especially on the how it's going to affect future rate cuts. So if unemployment comes in, the labor report, I should say, if that comes in bad, and the anticipation is it could come in at a bad number, if that happens and labor starts sinking, this is bad for the economy, but may be good for rate cuts. So we'll have to see how the market responds to it. The market doesn't seem to like these bad labor numbers lately, I've noticed, even though it may make rate cuts more of a done deal. I have noticed the market is not liking these bad labor numbers. So we're going to have to watch. The idea is we probably will get some lower labor numbers. It's not going, the consensus is it's probably not going to look good. The market may or may not like that, but what I think will really happen is the numbers will probably not look good, and the market will use that as a catalyst or a reason or a news event to sell. That's what I think is going to happen. It's all going to depend on the close today. If we close up over 68.30, and I think that's entirely likely, then I think we're going to come down tomorrow. That's just my best guess. So this is why I'm watching carefully. All right. So very slow climb here from this little bottom. 679 up to 681. So it's taken about 40 minutes to do this small climb here. And that's why trading these kind of moves is challenging, right? If we were still holding that call, yeah, we'd probably have made money on it by now for sure. But look what we would have had to hold through. Sometimes that's not worth it to me. Okay. Coming up to our overnight low. So let's see, they're trying to get us back inside range. Here comes 68.30 on its way. VIX giving us a tiny little drop down. We're sitting at 22.8. Let's see what happens here if we run up and tag this VWAP again. I would be willing to take puts again at a reversal, potentially. A potential reversal. Let's see if they bring it back inside the range. So the last couple of times they've tried to bring it inside the range, they haven't been able to. So we opened up and then dropped right in here. This was a nice sell. We dropped down through the overnight low, recaptured it, dropped again, and it's taken them 45 minutes to try and do this itty bitty climb to see if we can recapture it again. If we do, we may try and come up here and test the VWAP again. We're also, it's worth noting, below the 200 period moving average. This is the minute chart, so it's not as important on the minute chart, but it's valid. When we are trading below the 200, even on a minute chart, that is bearish. And of course, we're trading below the VWAP, which is also bearish. So let's see if they try to push this and give us a little test. We've got the VWAP sitting right at the bottom of our opening range. So basically right here where we opened, that's where the VWAP's sitting right on top of. So we've got a couple of minutes left in the stream. We only took a couple of trades, 3, I think, 2 little wins and 1 meh loss. So not a bad day. I'm up for the day, but those 3 trades overall were down just a little bit. So we will keep watching. I'll keep trading today, but my plan for the rest of the day is going to be watching this 68, 20, 30 zone and whether they keep over it. Remember, that's the 100. That's where they're going to try. I think, what did I say? 68.35. That is what I think they're going to try and recover today and hold, I think. And they may not, it may take till the end of the day to do that. I don't know. But that's what I think is going to happen. And so in the meantime, I am okay trading this range. It's big enough to trade the range. So at the bottom down here, again, 679 on the SPY. I don't think we're going to come up here and tag this high again. I think that could be the high of the day, but I could be wrong. They could jump it up and do that. 685 is the current high of the day, which I think will hold. I think this low will hold. So far, that's what I think. 679 to 685, I believe, is going to hold as the high and low. I could be wrong. In between there, as we trade inside of the range, I'm open to making both calls and puts. Keep an eye on the VWAP, keep an eye on the 200, where we're trading in vicinity to those. Usually we want to be bearish under the VWAP and bullish over, but we are currently climbing. So if we happen to bust up through the VWAP and run up to try and test this top, we could trade that. And if we come up and reject off the VWAP to the downside, we could trade that as well. All right, guys. Well, it was a fun time trading with you. Thank you so much for joining me and for being here. I appreciate you. We'll be back again tomorrow morning to talk about all the crazy data and to see if we truly do get a sell-off coming. All right. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. Bye-bye for now.